The Morgan Report with David Morgan. Discover how to build and protect your wealth at themorganreport.com.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com for the week ending 2 January 2026. Well, Happy New Year. So this update or perspective is really going to be about the report that just was published about an hour after I am doing this recording. And this is a briefing that we sent to our free list and our members. Always open with opening thoughts. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically this month we've covered lots to do with, of course, the macro picture, precious metals, talked about robotics, AI, what's going on in the bond market, what's going on in the equity market. And then I talk about there's much misinformation, disinformation, and commodity terminology, and that many knowledgeable resource investors are not sure what the fact is from what the fiction. And that is something we must bear in mind. A lot of it is sensational videos based on AI input with much truth mixed with facts. And then it adds in some misinformation and leads to confusion. So sort through some of that in the beginning of the Morgan Report, and then in the end where we take questions to the editor. I did more responses this month than probably ever since I started the report. And that's what I get paid to do, and I have a staff, and in a way it was fun, but a lot of, is this true, is that true? I didn't know that this happened, and on it goes. So we looked at 2025 in review, which of course was one of the best years ever in the precious metals, unless you're as old as I am and participated in the 1979-80 run-up, which some have. I was one of them, but forget about me. Let's move on. Talking about the year that passed. And then, of course, we went on. This came from one of our Ted Butler. I wrote about signs of scarcity. How tight is the silver supply really? He went through that, which, of course, many of you know that some of this correct information was we had a big arbitrage available with a $71 silver price in North America, and one the Shanghai exchange around 84. We discussed that. Then went into the blockchain and what we've been reporting on this forever. A lot of people that are resource investors have questioned us or me, why do you do blockchain? And we have for a very long time. And the reason is this is the push to the new system. And if you're not aware of what's going on with the blockchain in total, you're missing out on what's coming down the road, and it's going to land here fairly soon. So there's that. So we reviewed the cryptos as we do, not so much the currencies, but the bigger picture rather. Of course, Bitcoin's mentioned almost every article, or every month rather. And then one of the most important parts is that we sort through the wheat and the chaff and find the best companies for you on a risk-reward profile. We rate the portfolio. We have top-tier, mid-tier, junior producers, and rank speculations. And so we go through those about every quarter when earnings come out. Went through some of them this month, but also, and we knew that many would be looking for new companies in the space, and we have those. So we have got what we currently hold, and then we have others that we think you should have on your watch list, or if you're an aggressive investor, certainly do further due diligence than what we provide, and you can move in. There's the editor I've already mentioned. And of course, we have one of the best support staffs available. We're here by text. Well, we're here by phone and by email. And we do text out, but it is not received. So we have email and phone available all the time. I did a very brief article for LinkedIn. I think I linked it to X, Second Chance, third book, written by David Smith and myself, about really where we are now. The subtitle, as you can see, is How to Make and Keep Big Money from the Coming Gold and Silver Shockwave. And we are still in price discovery for silver, folks. As volatile as it's been the last several trading sessions, this doesn't mean the top is in, doesn't mean it isn't, I doubt it is, but we're still in price discovery. And that's something that will take a while, in my view, for it to really settle down to where there's a well, let's say a trading range or whatever, but it's going to remain in this type of modality for a while. So it's kind of repeating what I just said. Took a forward look. I did tell you we looked at robotics, AI, the technological changes without hype, but with realism. What does it mean for jobs, for the energy sector, for society itself, and importantly, what does it not mean? And I conclude the report and ultimately talk about human systems. Trust, community, sound principles matter just as much as charts and forecasts. So that's pretty much it from LinkedIn. And I wanted to end with this because this is an article. It's on the blog. This is from Frank Giustra. Most of you in the resource space would know that name. Written almost the last day of December. China loves silver, deja vu all over again. Very succinct article, but I actually made a response to him through this the blog opportunity at the bottom. It talks about the history of the Chinese and what happened with the Opium Wars and how much China was the main productive capacity of the world at one time. Basically, I think that's the place they have re-achieved now. That even though you may hear from other economists that the U.S. is still the number one main producer of products and all that, I would say it's China. But regardless, at one time they were. And then they dipped down. So what happened was Chinese were basically exporting a lot, but not importing much. And the Brits really wanted to say, well, we're depleting our silver reserves because silver was really a silver standard at that time. So they basically hooked the Chinese on opium. And because of that, the silver started to flow back into the Great Britain. And it's known as the Opium Wars. You can go into great detail. It's a very interesting story historically, and I think it's still fairly accurate even now, as far as not being too distorted relative to some other histories that are completely distorted from reality. Coming back on point, he talks about the current landscape, the industrial juggernaut within elastic demand, talking about what's going on with AI and all the needs for silver, supply crisis, many decades in the making. The physical squeeze is already here, which of course Frank is right. And then the monetary metal reawakened. And this is interesting because so many out there will tell you that silver is only an industrial metal. Certainly it is, but it does have monetary attributes that probably will never go away. And the Chinese know that. And he states here, which I thought was interesting, when Elon Musk states that the Chinese move is not good because silver is needed for many industrial processes, you should listen. He's describing a critical path dependency for his own industry and the broader energy transition. So where does that leave us? The 19th century silver imbalance led to war and humiliation for the Chinese because it was a fragile empire facing a ruthless industrializing power. The 21st century imbalance is leading to a different kind of conflict. Bare knuckles fight for resources in a physically constrained market. This time, China holds immense cards, control over refining, dominant industrial demand, and political will to secure its own future. The outcome will not be humiliation. It will be repricing. Well said, Frank. That's it. It's a wrap up for the first weekly perspective of the new year. I'll be back with you next week. David Morgan signing out.
The U.S. government debt is about to cross $37 trillion. That's not a typo. That's trillion with a T. Tariffs are being used to try and even the playing fields. Global supply chains are shifting. Inflation isn't going away. And the value of your dollar? It's quietly being drained while no one is really talking about this. The truth is, we're living through the early stages of a financial reset, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. And if you're still relying on mainstream headlines or financial advisors who just tell you to write it out, you could be blindsided when things really shift. That's where the Morgan Report comes in. For over 25 years, David Morgan has been helping investors cut through the noise. He tracks what actually drives markets, from precious metals and mining stocks to global debt and monetary policy, and show you how to protect and grow your wealth when the system is under stress. This isn't just about gold and silver. It's about having a clear-eyed view of where things are headed and making sure you're not caught off guard. The Morgan Report gives you real research, honest analysis, and strategies you can act on, even in a world of rising debt, unstable currencies, and economic uncertainty. Go to themorganreport.com today, download your free report, get informed, get ahead, and take back control of your financial future. Themorganreport.com, because 37 trillion in debt won't